хвоп, БКБ, кулдаун по 4. О, какая просто невероятная дамага!
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Starladder Season 10 LAN Finals. I'm LD.
I'm Cinderin.
Yes, you are. We're both Cinderin today in spirit. We've got our first match of the day. We're in Group A. It's going to be EG versus Tinker. All group stage matches are best of one. Top two will go to the winner's bracket. Bottom two, not eliminated, but they go to the BO1 matches in the loser's bracket. Not where you want to be, and this is, at least on paper, the more stacked group, Cinderin. EG, Tinker, Alliance, and a slightly bruised Cloud9, who will not be having Bone 7. He has kidney stones, as mentioned in the pre-show, but still a very fearsome squad.
Yeah, this is, I guess, I don't know what to call the big match of this group, to be honest, because I feel like they're all really big matches. So,
yeah.
But at least a really great match to start out with Team Tinker versus EG. EG, as we talked about a little bit in the pre-show, probably in most people's eyes, favorite for top 3, maybe favorite for top 2, maybe favorite to take the whole thing. Team Tinker, a team that I feel like has a lot to prove still. They have the talent, they have some extremely good players, but they're still missing that big tournament win. That at least I can't remember them winning a big tournament, at least not a LAN.
Yes, some of these players have made very big plays in moments, but as a team, definitely not the case. You look at Bulba's performance at TI3 for Team Liquid. EGM, obviously, TI3 champion and has won a lot of tournaments with Alliance, but some of these other players like Koikfa, Pycat, and Sing Sing, they haven't really completely proven themselves on the biggest stages. They're fully capable of doing it, but for them, there are more question marks. EG, they were a little PPD salt in the chat lobby. I think it's fair to call it that in the pregame, but we'll see if they can kind of get past that and move along. With that said, guys, the draft is underway, so we're going to get into it just momentarily. EG will be on the Radiant side for this game. Tinker on the Dire. I think we're going to the draft.
Yeah,
it's pretty far along.
I mean, we're pretty far in. Give us draft. Woo, here we go.
Give draft, please. Thank you. Here we go.
This is a really interesting opener for me because this. There's a lot of respect bans, I want to call it, coming out from Team Tinker. First off, they're banning out the Jakiro against EG, which they like to run as a core on Universe. They're banning the 2 defensive supports of PPDs in Abaddon and Omni-Knight. Treant is through, though.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, they're picking a first phase Legion Commander Io, which is a very unusual opener.
They love their Legion Commander. Yeah. They have been picking this hero like every single game, but it's normally a Skywrath Legion. That's their go-to, and of course, that was banned in the first phase.
And other teams don't really seem to prioritize the Legion Commander that much. We've seen Cloud9 getting it as an offlaner occasionally as like a 4th or 5th pick, but first phase picking it like this looks like Team Tinker has a plan, a lot of confidence. They're picking really fast, too.
They are.
Spirit instantly picked.
Insta-pick. And you look at this EG draft, I mean, why not? They've already shown their supports. Earthshaker, Crystal Maiden. You have one reliable stun there in Fissure until you get the Blink Dagger and the Earthshaker. You can't stop this Ember from moving around the map, and it's a Sing Sing classic hero as well. So I like this draft a lot for Tinker, especially if the Ember gets off to a powerful start. Of course, there's some nice combos here. Like they have a very mobile lineup already. Blink Dagger on the Legion is a pretty fast hero in general if he's able to get some additional move speed from overwhelming odds. And on top of that, you've got Ember Spirit, who can pretty much be anywhere. A lot of global pickoff potential. Not the strongest 5-man, though, unless they get a lot of farm on their cores, and that's where EG seem to have the edge. They picked up the Universe Faceless Void. The hero was, in theory, nerfed a bit in recent patches, but in practice, he still seems as strong as ever, especially in the hands of someone as capable as Universe.
Yeah, the question is if it is a Universe Void. We can't really be sure for now, but they are in the Radiant, so I still feel like there's been some changes with trying to balance the offlanes a little bit so that the Dire and Radiant are more similar. The Radiant is still flat out better still for me.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I would say like 80-90% of teams, if they win the coin toss right now in online tournaments, are choosing Radiant.
Yeah, and it's mainly for the better offlane, especially now that the Dire Roshan advantage isn't that prevalent anymore, then the offlane starts becoming even more important in the minds of the team.
Absolutely.
So I would pick Radiant too right now, so I completely agree with that decision here. The Void, it could be Universe, it could be Fear. Fear's a very experienced carry player who's played for, he's the most experienced player in this tournament, I guess you could say. At least the most experienced American player. He's played for an eternity. And Void, one of the very, very old carry heroes. So.
We've got Eternity and Universe on the same team. This is like the Time Lords grouping up. I want to go back to what you said about banning defensive supports, because that's something that PPD explicitly mentioned in an interview with Hopbit at ESL 1 New York. It was on his own vlog that he released after the event. So he didn't share that information heading into it, but afterwards he basically said, I'm just planning to pick myself a lot of really strong defensive supports. We're going to run fairly 5-man oriented drafts, and the goal is just to make sure that we keep our carries alive. And they ban out the Abaddon, they ban out the Omni Knight. EG, they get like a pseudo-defensive support here in the Earthshaker, but Tinker are trying to take PPD out of his comfort zone, and I am curious to see if he can deliver the same way, not being one of his most signature heroes.
And now Team Tinker are going to last pick out the Centaur. They have so much mobility on their lineup. I think the story here, when you look at Tinker's... interesting. So when you look at Tinker's heroes here, it's pretty obvious what the goal is. They want to get pickoffs as much as possible and avoid team fights. They have a disengage now with Stampede. They know a head-on-head or a head-on 5-on-5 is not going to favor them until they're very far ahead on gold. Just the threat of the Earthshaker, Void, even the Crystal Maiden Freezing Field together with a Chronosphere could pretty much team wipe. So you've got to be really careful fighting into this. And EG pull out something very unusual here. I feel like every single time EG comes into a LAN, they have at least 1 or 2 new ideas that they want to show off. And here's the Fear Bounty Hunter, which I can't remember seeing.
Nobody has run this hero in ages except for Cloud9 at TI4. That's it.
And it's Fear, so it might be a farming one.
Yeah, maybe it will be. We're just going to have to find out.
Really interesting if it is. It's happened before. It was the last time I can remember was back when Light of Heaven was playing for Na'Vi. They played it as a position 1 once or twice, I think, in the safe lane.
Just to get the fast track and then go around the map.
Fast track, and then he got a lot of gold. And then they swapped around so that Host could get some farm afterwards or something like that. So
it could fit in well into this game, because you look at Tinker, they have very low cooldowns on pretty much everything. Duel has a low cooldown. Ember can always fight. Same for Centaur. It could be a very chaotic game, and that's where you might have a lot of trading. And if you're having a lot of trading, Bounty Hunter is a great hero for that. So it could work out really nicely. With that said, we do have a quick pause. We can run through our drafts. On the Radiant side, we have Team EG, finished 3rd place at Starladder Season 9, finished 2nd at a couple of recent tournaments, looking to take that 1st place victory. You've got PPD on the Earthshaker. That puts Arteezy onto the Razor. Fear will be playing the core Bounty Hunter, it looks like anyway. Has the Poor Man Shield. He's been pulled some regen, so he's not bought any support items. Zai, Boots first, Crystal Maiden. And in the offlane for now, we'll go Universe as the Faceless Void. So they may be dual laning a Bounty Hunter mid. Interesting.
That is very unusual to do. I mean, one thing is to play it as a non-offlaner, or if you're Cloud9 support, but putting him in a dual lane is something very, very, very different. And I think the reasoning here for EG might be, okay, we know there's an IO lane. It might be an IO dual lane mid. If we put our own dual lane there with a Bounty Hunter, a Crystal Maiden, and maybe a half-roaming Earthshaker, perhaps they can at least get the levels in mid. They might still lose the lane just on farm, but at least they get Arteezy the safe lane, where pretty much no matter what hero Team Tinker puts down there, Razor will completely destroy in the lane. They have 3 melee heroes they can choose from. Either of them will get crushed. So that safe lane is going to be really great for Arteezy.
Yeah, that's a good point. 3 melee cores for Tinker. And against a Void, that could be very scary. Earthshaker as well. Even a Razor. I mean, all 3 of these are... I wouldn't know if I'd say they're hardcore melee counters, but they're pretty close to that. And with that said, Tinker on the Dire side, a lot of veteran players, but as a team on LAN, I think this is their first major LAN.
I think so too.
And with that said, we'll run through their draft. We've got EGM playing that support Wisp, probably the first player to really demonstrate the full power of Wisp back in the old Alliance days. And, well, since then, we've seen him on a variety of different heroes. The Ember Spirit in Sing Sing's capable hands. That does put Bulba on your support Ancient Apparition. Going mid will be Pycat on the Legion Commander, and in the offlane goes Koikfa. This is the cool thing with Tinker, is they can run this Legion in a variety of ways. I've seen Koikfa take it off lane, I've seen Pycat run it safe lane, and now we're going to see the solo mid Legion. So very flexible, and I think that's one of the reasons why they like this hero in their drafts.
And it's also one of Team Tinker's strengths in general as a team, is that they're just extremely flexible with what they do. Even what players go to what lanes is something they can choose to switch up whenever they want. So when you're drafting into them, you don't really get a direct, like, you don't get so much intel as to how they're going to put their lanes and who's playing what until you see it when the lanes are actually put. Even who picks the heroes is not enough information for you, where other teams traditionally, when you see I would say a team like EG, it gives away a little more information perhaps with who picks what, because they're a little more standard in how they put their lanes, I want to say.
Rune will be spawning now, and it's a bounty rune for EGM. Fear was in Viz trying to grab that. So we will see him dual lane mid, it looks like, as he's going back there. I was wondering if he maybe tries to rotate around and set up a first blood, but not finding the right rune for that. Looks like that'll be it. Meanwhile, Arteezy did get an illusion rune bottom. Not too fun for Quakefu, who has opted not to take the early stout shield. He will be under a lot of pressure from this lane early.
Yeah, that's definitely not good for him. If he gets Fissure walled off, he could almost die on. Maybe Arteezy needs to be level 2 for that. But if they just harass him down a little bit first, then it's going to be really tricky to deal with this lane. And you can see PPD already moving in. But Koikva has a good defensive ward placed down here, so we'll see PPD's movement. And with no sentries, this is he kind of has to stay here the whole time. PPD, like full defensive duty. But that suits him fine as a player, so I guess that's not a problem for EG. Yeah, the off lane for EG going to be a little bit easier early on, and at least until this support Ancient Apparition enters the lane. For now, Universe, he's getting his levels up. Hits level 2, can go blow for blow easily with an Ember Spirit until the Flame Guard's heavily leveled up. And for the time being, we see a lot of stacking in jungle Dota. EGM getting off his initial stack, did not get the double, got the double stack in that big camp, but not in the medium. And meanwhile, on the Radiant side, we did have some jungling from our Crystal Maiden, so it feels a little bit more like kind of 6.78-esque. CM off in the jungle with stacking camps. This might be an alliance tournament if this is the way the games are going to develop, man. Yeah, if history repeats itself, they're going to be very happy with those slow-paced kind of games here. But yeah, it's I think this probably favors EG a slight bit more. I feel like when they get the Crystal Maiden up to a fairly high level early on, just the overall gank potential between her and Bounty Hunter is very high. She can pretty much go to any of the lanes and find a kill with the heroes they have. With Universe getting off to a good start in the off lane, perhaps the Chronosphere won't come too late. And even if he doesn't have it, a target like Ancient Apparition is very easy for Zai to gank. Whereas when you look over on Team Tinker, who can IO really combine up with early on to find these kills until they get their level 6s? I just think it's going to be really difficult. Yeah, and speaking of level 6s, Centaurs is going to be quite delayed. Koikfa only level 2 now, and not getting his farm early on. He's been zoned out entirely by PPD and the threat of the Fissure block into a Razor potential kill. And now PPD goes for his pulling. Koikfa just trying to leech a little bit of experience, but the offlane advantage does seem to be going EG's way so far. There is some harassment from Sing Sing onto Universe, but not going to make a go. Should be some fast level 6s for these supports, especially, well, Zai off in the woods and the Ancient Apparition is constantly pulling. And as soon as Tinker go for their stacks, they'll catch up on the Wisp as well. Very slow start for both teams. It's very important for Team Tinker to get the support levels here. I think if they don't keep up the pace of EG's supports, they're going to reach an early mid-game position where EG's teamfight's just going to roll over them. They absolutely have to have Ancient Apparition Ultimate. I think that might be the most important level 6 in Team Tinker, maybe apart from Stampede, but should be coming at a fairly decent point for Koikfa. There's a smoke on Zai now, and I'm wondering when he makes his move, Sind. He's about to hit level 3. He'll have 2 points, 1 point in each nuke if he wants to go that route. And I think he's going to take 2 in aura and continue farming a bit. You think so? Just more jungle? Nope. All right. Never mind. Commentator's curse, man. He's actually even going back to... Never mind. He's getting a Clarity in his Tranquils. This is going to be the gank. Where do you go here? Yeah, that's the good question. I don't think they have the kill potential top yet, unless if they catch Bulba off guard from the side, which might be what he's trying for here. Or they could perhaps get the Legion Commander. Fear has full mana, he's level 4, but he will try for Bulba here, and I think this is going to work out because Universe knows exactly where Bulba is, but kind of... They get eyes on him, but they want him to go back to that camp. Now Zai sees the opening. Here we go. Could be the first blood of Starladder Season 10. Where's the bash? Not finding it. Looks like they won't need it. Frostbite the follow-up. Nova and kill secured. Can Sing Sing trade on Zai here? He gets the chains on 2, but they brought in Fear as well. It's going to be a 3v1, but Sing Sing may come on top in spite of that Wisp coming in with the tether. Fear forced to run. The Flame Guard burning him low, not finishing the job. And, well, it looks like in the end, that Bounty Hunter will be able to escape. Good rotation there from EGM to at least make it a somewhat even trade, though. Yeah, great aggression coming out from Sing Sing. I love when... Oh, Fear. When he can he could have had that, but he hesitated. Oh, there is Dust, though. He would have died for that.
Early
they're
dust
still
pickup by
debating him
Pycat.
here. Or, well, they want the rune on the IO. Is Fear actually getting away with this?
He has to
He's
see
so
the
dead.
dust. Oh, the tether slow comes out. He's a little bit.
no!
Pycat late to pop it, and now the Fissure is going to connect on 2 Universe. Is there a bash? 1 bash will be the kill on EGM. Nope, doesn't get it. Now forced back by Pycat, who comes in, and Sing Sing arrives. 6 heroes in the river. Make it 7. Everybody and their mother joining this fight. Universe will go down. Nice change from Sing Sing. How the hell is EGM still alive? Not any longer. Another multiple hero Fissure from PPD, but it won't matter. Sing Sing's writing them all down. They've only lost a Wiz. They're looking at 3 kills here, including that off lane Void, and Sing Sing already level 6 is a dual lane in the safe lane. What a start and turnaround here for Tinker.
Yeah, and as I was about to say before, I love seeing Ember Spirits who like playing aggressively early on with that Flame Guard. In this game, the early game here really favors Sing Sing. EG don't have enough just burst damage to remove the Flame Guard, and if they do, then they don't have any more damage, right? They kind of have to commit everything. Still surprised to see Arteezy not moving at all here. I think he could have potentially joined in, given Koikve a little bit of space. The Centaur is still only level 3, so even if he leaves and gets joins a fight in the top part of the river there, it's still okay. Koikve will still be behind in that lane, but
yeah, it's not like he's about to get his Blink Dagger or something either.
No, he's really far behind, but this is a great start for Sing Sing in a game where I also think this is a good Ember Spirit game, to be honest. EG, they have Fissure, which is slightly
and they have
worrying,
Chronos.
and they have Chronos.
That's it.
That's it. Like, and sure, they're playing a core bounty hunter, but I don't think Fear wants to go Orchid first or something like that. But he might have to.
Oh, we're going to have another skirmish at this top room. Pycat with his buddy, EGM in tow with the bounty room. Can Tether in again? Are they going to dive PPD? Pycat has hit level 6. He has a duel. Let's dance. They'll jump in. They get the duel damage for Pycat. The snowball for Tinker begins. Can EG slow this down?
I still think there's so much on Arteezy's shoulders right now to because if this continues, then EG are cruising towards well, they're not cruising. Tinker is cruising towards a really good mid game where even if Arteezy gets really good safe lane farm, I just don't know how much the Razor will be able to do against a hyper mobile Ember Spirit who gets a lot of farm like this.
Oh,
so
Koikve, no TP.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
So dead. No TPs coming in yet. They're just going to let him fall. Arteezy will get the last hit there. And you know, the other thing, Sind, is these supports for EG do fall off a bit, especially the Crystal Maiden. So if they're not getting a lot done early, later on they can become food for a Legion commander giving away, or giving him dual damage, I should say. And they've got a lot of burst on Tinker. Good pickoff lineup with Relocate, with a Centaur eventually coming online. So supports who aren't getting the job done early can become a liability for EG in this game later on.
EGM, speaking of supports, is getting some nice farm in the Dire Jungle. Has a lot of stacks here. He's farming it with the Spirits. Of course, a very capable and very experienced IO player knows exactly how to do this. And should he get those 2 camps, he's probably level 7, if not 7.5. I don't know if he's going to solo them or share it with perhaps Bulba, or sorry, with Koikve.
Even Pycat perhaps will come in and help clear those out. But this is where things get scary for EG. As you're about to see a Blink Dagger picked up, Fear does find EGM. He's got the level 2 Shuriken Toss with Track here. He'll get the kill perhaps. No, the tether away. EGM still retreating out. Fear's going to dive this though. Commitment from him. The old man strikes back. We'll find a kill, and unfortunately, it's not as though they get to steal the stacks off of this. Just the Track kill on the Wisp for now. But they do have eyes on this. The question is, will EG get Chronosphere in time to come to contest these stacks? That would be a big turn for them if they can take them down.
I think, yeah, now Fear is going to walk past them and ping them out. This is the first time they see them. He knows there's a quad stack here. The plan here for EG might be to rotate up Arteezy and do this right now. And speaking of the supports like you did earlier, that they might fall off, I'm surprised PPD is level 5. I don't know where he found all this experience. He's got 1 assist. I didn't see him doing much pulling.
He's just been he actually has been pulling quite a bit. At least I saw him earlier doing the double
But
pull.
he only has 3 last hits, so he might have missed some or just not really cared about it. But
yeah, Centaur was also contesting him a bit.
Yeah.
But I think that fight mid, he might have gotten some experience as well.
But he's still keeping up all right. Now, this is a big item coming in for Pycat. We're talking an 8-minute Blink Dagger with treads.
And with some bonus dual damage, not to mention you've got, and I think enough teams don't do this is they've got a good supporting cast for the Legion Commander. Like, sometimes I see teams pick it just for maybe the Purge to remove Lasso from press the attack, but they've picked it with a Wisp to make him hit harder, and with good burst from the other heroes. So the chances of Pycat getting dual damage off of this Blink are extremely high.
Oh, they see Fear. They've pinged him out already. He's currently moving to the top rune. Or, well, he shouldn't be moving to the rune. It's spawning in a minute, Fear. That's not his plan. He's moving to the top, but yeah, they know this is coming, so I guess Bulba and Koikve will be getting out in a moment here. Or maybe not. Bulba's actually hanging around quite long. Now he will back off.
They're bringing in everyone. They're actually going to smoke And 2 heroes wait top lane on the side of EG. They might get trapped as 5 from Tinker charge in. Will they get eyes on that bounty hunter? Fear still invisible, but Universe is the one they catch out. Blink, he blinks out, he time leaps out in the nick of time. The Blink Dagger cooling down for Pycat, but perhaps with Tether move speed he can get in. There's a Chrono ready, and Universe will use it. Then he goes back in for a few auto attacks, then retreats out, realizing he won't get this job done. This means the Blink will cool down. Duel, where's the duel? There you go for Pycat. Will there be enough backtracks? Not enough. Another winner for him. This time Arteezy will TP and look for the trade, but with a Stampede onto Bulba, as well as the additional Tether move speed as that wears off. He'll be almost out of here. The neutrals cooperating with Fear, working as a tandem to try and bring down Bulba. Another Shuriken at 4. They're diving this tier 1 top lane. Aggression from EG. Big commitment. They'll get 1 for Arteezy. Looking for a secondary kill. While that was happening, the Earthshaker did go down, and EGM will fall as well. Another track kill, but Sing Sing looking for the trade. No mana for chains. This might not be enough. Crystal Maiden ult to zone him out. Arteezy on the chase. He's slowed down. He can't retreat. A big death as Sing Sing falls, and it might be more. EG finding a triple for Arteezy.
Oh, it's a dieback.
And now the ultra kill and a dieback on top of that for Sing Sing.
Oh, boy.
What a disaster for Tinker.
I don't know how Sing Sing thought he could come back into that fight, and just when I was about to talk about in that fight how it was a very uncharacteristic mistake from Universe there, he overstayed his welcome a little bit and got killed for it, but just see that this moment Arteezy rotates in, he had to come out big, and he just got 4 kills. He's now 2,000 net worth ahead of the Legion commander who was doing so well.
This is going to be like a 15-minute eggs, 14 minutes even, perhaps.
Could look at less. If he gets the tower, we could look at like 12 or 13 minutes here. They will be respecting the A ultimate, flying in here and backing off. I think Zai might even try for the last hit here.
Look at that
I think he's going to get
Grafson.
it. He's going to get it.
Oh,
what
nice
a
deny by Pycat. And that's much needed, but still you look at that fight, and that's how EG want to play this. Lots of trades. Tinker wants to fight all the time. Great. Even if we maybe lose out here or there, we make up for it in track gold. And if there's one here you don't want to feed this game, it's Arteezy's Razor. Ultra kill for him. He's now 2.5k gold, nearly a half or ahead of Pycat. And well, they'll try and farm those neutral stacks at the very least. And you do look at Tinker and say this is a lineup that can come back in their own right. They've got the mobility. They now have Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast online, relocates ready. But it gets tough. At some point this game, EG just get too tanky. On the Void, if he picks up a BKB perhaps, on the Razor, very soon. And well, then it's only supports he'll easily be able to pick off. So Tinker need to start getting aggressive here fairly soon.
And it's interesting to see for EG that Arteezy chose to go for that axe. I was starting to look around, okay, who's getting the mech then? Because in a game like this with all this, there's probably going to be quite some team fighting happening. Team Tinker are good at skirmishing, but they're not that extremely good at split pushing, so there will be fights.
A bold prediction, Cinder. There will be fights.
And
it's true, it's true.
They're not getting mech on Arteezy, which we've seen him frequently get on the Razor, and Razors in general like to get that item. But going for the Ag seems a little bit greedy, so I was starting to look for the Bounty Hunter maybe getting the mech for the team, but he's not getting it either, so I wonder what the plan is for EG. Even the Midas build-up now on Crystal Maiden, are they just like playing ultra late game here? Or?
Maybe they're just not expecting to 5-man too much. And I guess in that case, the mech won't offer you quite as much.
Ultimate mid.
Comes in, hits PPD. They get off the nuke from Pycat, and then, well, the follow-up's there. With the duel, does he get the kill in time? He does. A third winner for him. He continues to accrue damage. At the same time, EGM being pressured out by a very fast, hasted Fear. Walking in onto Sing Sing, dodging those chains. Nice jukes by Fear, using the terrain to his advantage. Can they get a range for Chronosphere? The Wisp relocates out to safety, but this may cost some other heroes their lives. Pycat trapped in the Chronosphere and dropping fairly fast. Fear did walk into it, but still Pycat will go down. Wisp returning. Looks to be the death of the Wisp to the high ground. Sing Sing waits, but Tether out. Don't know if he lives. Sing Sing may die again. He's slowed down here as he tries to remnant out. They run him down. Fear not going to go for the additional kill. On the backside of the engagement, Bulba found one. They did get the trade a bit on the Universe Faceless Void, and now looking for more. They're chasing out Zai. They'll bring him down too. 3 heroes falling for EG. A little track gold for them in that fight, but hardly sufficient. Fear, can he get another? They'll bring back in the Ember Spirit of Sing Sing, and he's committing for this one.
Janata is almost one-shotting Bulba here, I think. Oh,
no, maybe not.
It's a level 2 Janata.
Those Tranquil Boots doing work. Well, still gets the kill.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought he had a high level Janata, but of course with this skill build he doesn't. He's going to pay for it though. They do have.
Oh,
no,
that's not worth it.
Okay, Fear.
Well,
excellent juking here. Almost got
space.
away.
This is where you start spamming space created in team chat.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of that, we didn't get the full fight recap, so we'll just use the graphs. And it tips back a bit in the way of Tinker, but we do have to keep in mind track gold. It's not the biggest deal at level 1, but it still helps to make up for EG's mistakes. And they do get that Arteezy eggs.
And the rubber band is heavier on experience than it is on gold.
That's true.
The bounty pickup is actually a really interesting choice here. I think earlier in 6.82, Bounty would just be a terrible pick in general, because if you lose like one fight when you're ahead by 10k gold with track, you just throw 5k the other way.
But perhaps Bounty Hunter, in conjunction with the changes in this patch, it's enough to make it a very taut rubber band. You get a lot of experience, and then thanks to him, you get a lot of gold.
Yeah, and he's been doing a lot of work this game so far. Sure, Fear died there, but he's 4-1-4. He's been doing an excellent job at locking onto the right targets. He's really... It seems like the plan for EG almost with this Bounty Hunter is to have him chasing around the IO, that was part of the pick, that they have this mobile hero who can come in from a lot of different angles and just cause the IO trouble, force that hero to move around, maybe break the tether, and even solo it easily. So it's been working very well.
And Wisp has very low base armor, and Janata hurts on that hero. Maybe we even see EGM pick up some Tranquil Boots just to get a little bit of bonus armor, or build towards the mech. But for now, he picks up his urn, and we do settle down a bit, Sind. It's been a fairly bloody opening of this game. 12-12, constant rotations for both teams. As we head towards the mid-game, what are some of your key points? Like, if you're Tinker, what's your approach to this? And if you're EG, how do you look to try and take this?
Well, with the Crystal Maiden going for the Midas build-up, it looks like, for me, EG's plan here is to just slow down the game a bit, take some fights whenever they can, and just get the track gold and just build up. I think with the Midas here on Zai, they're aiming for, I don't know, a 30-40 minute window where they have all their key items. Maybe Zai gets 1 or 2 core items as well. If they get some track kills like looks like they're aiming for right now, I think that's fine. Tinker needs more vision. I think that's the key. They need to see where the enemy heroes are so they can go for their skirmishes, because as it looks right now, and it's been in this game so far, it seems like it's always EG on the aggressive and Team Tinker counter-initiating. I want to see Tinker take the initiative, use the Stampede offensively for once, and find a kill. But if they don't see the heroes on the lanes, well, they don't really know where to look for them.
They wrap towards top. They were going to take the more direct route, but now they go the other way. They get vision from Fear. Saint trying to Remnant out, quickly retreating. EGM also, he will go down. That's at least the 3, maybe 4 hero track kill. 2 hero Fissure connects, and this will just secure their retreat. Universe was in position, and the lineup with the Bounty Hunter starting to find those track kills now. And not something you want to be giving away. That 1 kill, 800, 900 gold.
Yeah,
wow,
and
that's
Fear,
a lot.
Fear, when he's going to be level 11 the next time, we're looking at even more. And especially now that the heroes gaining more levels will be worth even more gold.
I should clarify gold swing, but yeah, nonetheless.
It's still a really big deal. And EG with these, even when Fear isn't finding the kills, they just get so much intel from having this Bounty Hunter run around. So it is difficult for Tinker to find the kills. I think maybe they should consider a gem at this point. Go for a little bit of a bold play, perhaps. Put it on either Pycat or on Koikva, and then try to find out Fear, kill him off, and get some map control out of that. They're getting the duel now in PPD, though.
PPD so royally screwed. That's 4 duels won for Pycat. It's a lot of bonus damage for him. But no matter how big this Legion commander gets, I worry a bit about his impact later on, Sin, just because he's up against a Void. It's a melee here initiator that you jump in with a duel. If you don't catch the Void or the Earthshaker, they can just Fissure, Chrono, counter-initiate. And ideally, you'd like Sing Sing to be getting a lot of kills and snowballing a bit.
And if there's a static link during that, then Legion Commander's even useless afterwards. Then you don't even need to go on the DLC. If you drain all the damages, yeah, sure, you've got overwhelming odds, but in a late-game scenario, that spell kind of falls off quite heavily. So
you also have the unstable current when he initially duels you as well. So
yeah, that's true. There's even a little bit of purge from Arteezy there. So they definitely have the tools to deal with the Legion Commander. We're still looking at Sing Sing to be a big force in this game, and he was off to a great start, but then he died twice in that top lane, which that cost them so much, actually. If he wouldn't have bought back there, if they had caught their losses, they were like, okay, we messed up, we lost the fight. Sing Sing might have almost, he wouldn't have had a Battle Fear yet, but he would have been perhaps
close.
He would have been fairly close, and instead he's kind of underfarmed.
Yeah, and it's a 5-2 and 4 Ember too. It's not often you see a score like that and say, man, this Ember's really struggling. His CS is not amazing. It's only 4 CS a minute, but it's decent. It's respectable. Fear continues to be a thorn in the side of Tinker, and the way he's playing this Bounty Hunter reminds me in some ways, Sind, of just the way that we see PPD.
He is going to go for it, Bulba.
This is a tough solo kill. Reinforcements are coming. Sing Sing's here. There's no detection, though. And now, well, Sing Sing jumping in, but Fear's Invis. Now they get the dust on him. They jump in with the chains as well. Pycat will get off the duel in time. He will. That's a 5th duel in a row. Well, not in a row, but 1 for Pycat. Plus 58 damage. It is starting to add up. Will it be enough? Tinker now push in. One issue for Tinker, which we haven't really discussed much for other teams, they don't really take towers quickly.
No.
They're good at clearing waves, but buildings, unless the Legion gets a ton of damage, will be slower to fall.
And EG are definitely way better in that department now with the Ags up on Arteezy on the Razor. So every time Arteezy's in a lane, they kind of have to go and defend it, because else he can just ulti and take down the tower pretty much in his own. So you're right, though. Tinker, how close are they to taking a tower? The bottom tower is more than half. The mid is about 1/4, so that's definitely one they could go for, but EG still has Glyph available. And the moment Tinker gather up to try and take a tower, that's when it gets really scary, because then there could be a Chrono, Fissure. Like, the amount of initiation angles EG has is pretty scary, so it's difficult for Tinker. I think they're doing a good job right now, though. I feel like we're seeing them more on the offensive. They're finding more kills of their own right now, and gaining control back here. You see all these sentries placed by Bulba. They currently have 3 in their own jungle, realizing that Fear is causing them a lot of trouble right now. So if they can keep him out, at least they know this is a safe zone for them.
But it means no chance in hell he gets an Ags anytime soon this game. They don't have track hold on the side of Tinker, and not taking towers puts your supports in a very impoverished state. The Wisp is doing a bit better, but EGM currently just the bottle and an urn, which for his Wisp at 20 minutes is pretty underwhelming. And I think it just goes to show you how under pressure they've been. They haven't been allowed to farm. They have been taken out of their game plan of just being aggressive with the Centaur and Legion Blinks and constantly finding picks around the map. And for that alone, EG, they control this game for now. It's not an overwhelming lead, but it's significant. A 5,000 gold lead, a 1,500 experience lead. I just wonder at some point if Arteezy gets too big to deal with for Tinker.
It's pretty funny to see the net worth of PPD in the midst. It's like they're leading by 5k gold, and he has
not even a 6th
He has
position.
800.
You're 11 position Earthshaker. He's so underfarmed, he's not even in the game practically, but he's been doing work anyway. Chrono was there from Universe, finds EGM, no relocate out will be happening, and he'll end up dropping. Now the Fissure onto Pycat, holding him in position. Will they lose their Legion too? They will. Get dunked, fool, says PPD. They secure that kill. A 2-0, and I mean, you mentioned when you go for a tower, that's just when you go for kills if you're Tinker. You get counter-ganked, you get punished.
That was very expensive for Tinker. Not only did they lose 2 heroes, they lost the mid-tier 1 as well because Arteezy was there. This is so much map control swinging the way of EG because they still have about a 30-second window until Legion Commander is back. That means Fear can start moving around. Actually, we'll try to open here on Koikva.
No Stampede. Yeah, Arteezy's going to steal his damage. Oh, he's in trouble now. Gets off the Stomp. The Enchant Original connects on 3, but couldn't cast too many spells as Fear will get chained. Sing Sing trying to hold him in place and lock him down. Doesn't. Oh, it has the 1 sentry. Can he stay in range? He will. Ends up shattering. Sing Sing securing the counter kill there, but they lost 3 in the end, going back to the Legion Commander death earlier. Very expensive nonetheless for Tinker, and some of these are track kills, and it's starting to add up. But maybe they get a trade. Arteezy with the BKB. I'll just have to TP.
Look at his net worth. This is unbelievable. I don't think I mean, sure, it's a position 1 Razor, right? He's got a GPM of 615, and this is not one of the most, like, the fastest farming heroes in the game. It's a 22-minute game. You have 150 CS. Other carries with complete free farm at this point can have 182, maybe even 200 if they get, like, absolute free farm, like Terrorblade Naga or Anti-Mage.
Dual top lane, though. Nice
so
for Pycat.
Incredibly big.
He is. The only hero who's really keeping up is this Legion Commander, but, I mean, he's still 4k gold down on the enemy Razor.
That's just what Trek does for you. He's been part of 11 kills on the Razor, and there's probably been Trek on at least 6 or 7 of those, so you will inevitably get this rich on Arteezy. He's actually going on Koikva right now.
Look how
Might force out
he's
this.
playing, dude.
He has to use the Stampede here, maybe, almost.
That's really... When Arteezy can do that and not get punished, you've got a problem on your hands.
And he doesn't even have the BKB ready. He just went in.
He didn't have his team there either. They're just all farming the woods, but who cares? Boba could be next, caught out by the Crystal Maiden as well as the Earthshaker. Boba will end up getting clubbed to death by a very angry Totem. And EG start to close in on that tier 2 mid. It's been a slow game in terms of tower progress, Sin, but with Razor, Ags having been complete for a while, now finally being used on a tower, and the Refresher, if Arteezy wants it, not terribly far off. That could change quickly.
And I think this is a really good Refresher game for the Razor. Having a double BKB against this Team Tinker lineup, I think, is great. And just being able to try to finish out the game at the right time here. Relocate has to be used
he
here.
relocated onto the Chrono, and EGM's going to end up dying too. What a disaster for Team Tinker. EG given a freebie there. Oh, my. When you're in this position...
He's getting a heart.
He's literally going to be God.
Yeah, well, then...
You're not killing this guy.
That's an alternative. I think the Refresher would have been great if they're looking to end the game early, but so is the Heart. Because then they... Like, how is Team Tinker going to initiate on this hero? Their opener is the Legion Commander, who has a lot of single-target damage, but he still doesn't have the BKB when he went for the Maelstrom build-up. And that means whenever he opens, they can be 100% certain that there's going to be a Fissure coming the other way.
Nice echo from PPD. Prevents the Koikva hoof stomp with the Aftershock stun. Then they follow up and they turn it. Great play from EG. Very nice usage of the short duration stuns to prevent that cast and secure the kill. Again, Tinker pressing. And again, getting punished heavily, Sin. Now even the offlane Void of Universe is caught up on the back of some track gold. A lot of space for him. There's an 11K gold lead for EG, a 7.5K experience lead. Total map control, probably the better late game with the Chronosphere Razor duo. Like, how are you going to out late game that? And it could get worse here. EGM, where's he go? He tries to tether forward, attempting to juke Universe a bit, but EG just looked to retreat. Universe trapped in the trees for now. He's got a time wall coin down in 4. He may end up dropping here. Is there a duel from Pycat? There is! And no bashes is forthcoming. That will end up being a nice trade and a much needed one for Taker. Still, not the best of trades as Arteezy is taking down the bottom tier 2. Hope Stomp was attempted by Quakeful. He got his Blink Dagger canceled through this. PPD trapped in the tree line. 2 auto attacks. Pycat will slice him down. But the one they really wanted, Arteezy, for now, is trying to retreat out. He's got the BKB timing. Can they change him? No. Tried to wait for the last second. Sing Sing did, but it's still too strong of a BKB duration. Arteezy's getting away with murder at this point.
This is still really important for Team Tinker to get these 2 kills on Pycat, because I think his BKB right now is a crucial item. Sure, you've still got Chronosphere to counter it, but at least he can play around a lot more, knowing he's not going to get frostbitten, he's not going to get fissured. And that means if he duels the Void, it's actually quite likely a kill. He can go in with a BKB and find out the Void. If there's any sort of sleight of fist damage coming in from Sing Sing from range and maybe an AA ultimate, he will die. And that could be a really good opener for the fight, because once the Void is out, Team Tinker might be able to collapse from different angles here and maybe get a good Stampede follow-up with Koikfa stomping 1 or 2 heroes, and then suddenly the fight could go in their favor. But now BKB finished on Fear. It was his and LC's at the same time, I think, so 1 for each team.
And BKB seemed very promising for EG this game. At that point, Tinker, what is their damage output? It's Sing Sing going for an Eye of Scotty on the Ember,
I don't
so
know
not
how
much
good that is
damage.
here.
And Pycat, who's up against melee initiator counters in Chronosphere and Fissure. Well, I guess he has the BKB now. So mostly Chrono and potentially that Razor Static Link or Ultimate. Like you said, I think a lot of pressure on, not just on the Legion Commander, but the overall approach from Tinker. They cannot really team fight unless Chrono's down or unless they get an amazing initiation here.
And it makes me wonder, so what do you think about this Scotty build? Because I feel like, you know, it's a cool item on Ember. It's really great in some cases, having the constant slow from Sleight of Fist applying the Scotty effect to all the targets, but it's mainly a hybrid item, right? Where you also want the HP, you want to be able to commit in, but I think Sing Sing can't do that anyway. So building this item is like a team fight chasing item, but they don't want to take team fights anyway because they're going to lose them. So I feel like this is the kind of game where actually maybe you should have just gone for the standard Ember build with high damage and Glass Cannon. What do you think?
If you get chronoed, are you actually going to live through that at this point? Universe has Maelstrom Mask of Madness. There's good nuke damage to follow it up. I think it would work if he was able to withstand a Chronosphere, but I don't see that happening right now, Sint. Perhaps he just can.
If he played Glass Cannon, they have another way of killing targets that get dueled, and maybe they set up a nice stomp or something, and maybe they can take the fight off the back of that. But right now, I don't see Team Tinker having enough burst damage to just win a fight head-on. So they're going to have to like play around, extend the fight very long so Sing Sing can like kite them and deal good damage, and then maybe they can turn it around on them, but
it's a lot of ifs and maybes.
Yeah.
Whenever you're forced to talk about a team's approach with a lot of ifs and maybes, they're in trouble.
Yeah. And to me, there's no way at all Team Tinker can win a team fight if Pycat doesn't get a good duel off. I think that's how much pressure he's under right now. He has to get the duel, he has to get a good target, and in addition to that, they need to be in a good position. But if all those things combine, they do have burst. Wow. Is this for
28
real?
minutes. Centaur
Time
Midas.
to recover. Quakeverse fed up with not having enough gold. Well, maybe they're just playing for the super late game now. But you said this took you back to, what was it, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Alliance ran a quad Midas draft with an Abaddon and Crystal Maiden support. They lost that game horribly,
but they tried.
Now, to be fair, Alliance, Misery loves his Midas, right? I mean, this is the pioneer of Midas gaming back in that patch. And, well, let's see if it works. And I suppose it's true that they can't really take fights now. I just don't know how much that changes later on. Unless the Ember gets a ton of, like you said, maybe not Glass Cannon, but he needs that massive damage of a Glass Cannon carry. So perhaps Tinker looks to take this 50, 60, 70 minutes. Yeah. No matter how big you get in this patch, though, one good fight with a couple of level 3 tracks, which is coming soon, by the way. Fear's already level 14, essentially. Could turn it. And they're going to scout out Tinker in the pit now. Arteezy walking in. Pycat and EGM in position, but they get off the initial fissure. That's a quick takedown on your Wisp. And now they track Pycat. They jump in. Chronosphere could catch 2. No, only catches Pycat in the end. And Arteezy's trapped in it, so he can't do much. So they even get this kill on Pycat. Not the best Chronosphere in the end from Universe, but still good enough. Their advantage is substantial, and they force Tinker back. Gem was also, I believe, picked up there by the Radiant side. let's see. Yeah, City on PPD now. It was taken for Bulba. So on top of everything else, Tinker now lose a gem. Do they go for some buybacks and try to fight this? Doesn't seem like it.
Do they even have them? No, they don't. So
Does Sing Sing go for the Aegis steal? Does he need to at this point? Can Tinker afford to give away this Aegis start to easy? Sing Sing's thinking about it. He's got a Remnant in the pit. EG don't care. Will Sing Sing jump in? They go in with Kuik for the start. Where's the follow-up from Sing Sing? He's just sitting and waiting. The Aegis snatched by the Void.
You're on your own, buddy.
Last hit by the wave. Oh, man.
Okay, that seems...
Quake forgot the last hit on Roche, I think. Or maybe it was Sing Sing. So that's something.
Okay. Well, that seemed like a little bit of miscommunication or just bad timing. Perhaps Did his Remnant expire the moment he wanted to jump in? No, it just expired now. He had it. Yeah. He did have it, but...
Did he have... Yeah, I'm not sure. Did he have multiple Remnants up or something?
I don't think so. I think he had one in the pit, and then... Well...
Still, I mean, obviously worth it for Tinker. Giving up your... better than just giving them the Aegis and the Roche kill, right?
Yeah.
I think one kill's worth
I still think
so.
that's an okay play, but looked like they were going to go for the all-in and only take that kill. But
this Wrecking Ball is coming, Sind. Now a plate mail up on Arteeza. He's so fat.
They can't kill that guy. I'm curious to see where Sing Sing goes with this now, because if you're not getting the Battle Fury first, do you think it's even worth it now, or do you go like really hard single target damage and get something like a Daedalus so you can just at least hit a couple of targets, hope for a crit? Of course, it doesn't splash at all, but if you hit one of the key targets, perhaps you're going to bring them down. A Battle Fury at this point just seems really underwhelming before the crit. Plus, the damage itself is just not high enough anymore.
EG are just so mobile, right? With track move speed, with Void having Time Walk, Razor obviously very fast from the unstable current, and just being, at this point, having the track move speed too. He will get the tower last hit. Arteezy couldn't get in range, or didn't have any support to stop that teleport out. So a nice play by Pycat. Yeah, honestly, there's also not that much of a wave from EG, right? They don't have multiple summons. There's not Necro Book, so you don't need wave clear as badly, and your supporting cast is pretty good at it. Legion Commander great at killing a big wave. Ancient Apparition's decent there. So there's less pressure on the Ember to de-push. But that said, it also means his farm speed will be a lot slower. So if you want to take the super late, you'd probably want your Ember to be farming as quickly as possible. It could go either way.
Yeah, he's still holding on to his 1400, so I think at this point, if you're Team Tinker, you either buy up big items or you save for buyback, because the next fight that's coming is, if they can't buy back, they're going to lose the whole game.
I got to point out,
lineup can take the whole.
This Crystal Maiden of Zai is more farmed than anyone except for the Legion Commander on Tinker, and is 4th overall. That is really, that's track gold in play, a Midas in play. It's gold gaming for EG.
He's got
get Dala.
He's got level 3 freezing field soon. It's not really even that many games where Crystal Maiden reaches level 16.
Let alone with all
but
these
now with
items.
the Hex and Blink.
And what's going to happen when she gets a BKB? Are you going to duel Crystal Maiden to stop her ultimate? I mean,
that's the one problem Tinker have that we haven't really talked about yet, because with these supports of EG starting to get some stuff, I guess PPD will have a Blink Dagger in an hour, or an hour into the game he might have a Blink. If you duel any of the core heroes on EG, it's the classic position 4 Zai turning into more than a position 4. Even on a Crystal Maiden here, he's now starting to, once he has that BKB, he might have higher damage output than the Razor or Void in these team fights if he gets in.
And let's not forget, Freezing Field it's been buffed quite a few times as of late.
It's insane.
Yeah. I've seen a few big Crystal Maidens ults. Misery did like 5,000 damage in a team fight with a level 2 ultimate and no Aghanim Scepter in that Alliance game that they ended up losing. So keep an eye on the CM. Could be the secret champion here. As EG
are they going to try for this?
Perhaps. They don't have that much lockdown from these three. They really need that Chrono to kill Sing Sing. And Universe wasn't quite in position. So they'll back off. Do they look to break the base now? They have their Aegis on Universe. A Basher now being picked up by Fear. Interesting. More lockdown for the Ember.
Working on an Abyssal here, I guess, too. Yeah, both to lock. If you wanted to lock down the Ember, I still think Orchid or Hex would have been a better choice.
That's true. There's no BK. Sing Sing cannot afford to go BKB.
No, there's no way he can do that. But the Abyssal against the Legion Commander is actually a really nice choice.
And let's not forget the duel does not disable passives anymore, so you have that chance to bash on Void as well as Bounty Hunter.
That's very true. I feel like Pycat needs to do too many things now. We're reaching the point when he needs to get a really good duel. He needs to, in addition to that, get some perfect timing, press the attack off, removing some crucial debuff, and he needs to not get caught by one or two abilities that EG has.
Against Fisher and Chrono as a melee initiator. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
He's got to dodge like everything EG have, aside from the Bounty Hunter, I suppose. It's a tall task for him. EG, though, not fully committed to this high ground breach, and if they want to take it later, with the amount of gold they're getting and the lineup they have, I don't think they have to force it, Sind.
And I think there's also we've been talking a lot about Sing Sing and Pycat, obviously, because they are kind of the ones for the team that have a chance here, but we have not seen much of Koik for this game, and he has been, like, as of late, late meaning the last 2 months, he has been the standout player for Tinker, in my opinion, has always been performing on a really high level.
And even longer than that if you go back to Liquid.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
He has been so good for a very long time. He just hasn't, I don't want to say he's played a bad game, because he's just been under so much pressure, but it's hard for Tinker. I think it's difficult for them to play when Koikva can't really commit to the fights and do what he does best, which is just use his mechanical skills extremely well in team fights. He has not been able to play his hero this whole game, and if you don't see much of a Centaur and it's you put it in that off lane, you know, he's been part of 5 kills out of 18. It's just really underwhelming.
Their game plan wasn't supposed to go this way. If they wanted to play it this way, you'd probably rather run the off-lane Legion and like another core farmer that can offer you more in team fights. But a lot of it just goes back to the early start EG had, that dieback from Sing Sing, and not just his dieback, but the whole fight being so bad for them top. It really took the momentum away from Tinker. Well, and good news for them, there was no high ground breach by EG. They didn't actually try to force the tier 3 too much. They forced out a glyph, they did decent damage. But they didn't break the base yet, which gives Tinker a little more time to farm up. Perhaps EG will wait for the next Aegis. Teleport out from Arteezy, but they may find the easier, lower-hanging fruit of kills. As PPD gets caught out, they'll throw out a track. But in comes the relocate. Pycat couldn't get off the duel. PPD able to run. He keeps on moving. This is one deft Earthshaker. Turns with the enchant totem. He echo slams to boot. Finally out of spells. Will be told, give us your gem. But Zai looks for the trade. He tries to bring everyone down with this big Crystal Maiden ultimate. Nice job of scattering from Tinker. Sing Sing still trapped out on the tree line. He doesn't have a remnant here. He may end up going down with the support of Fear. Where's the backup for Sing Sing? Zai is auto-attacking a goddamn Ember Spirit to death. Now zips back in, but you can't run from track. There's no escape for Saint Sing, no mercy from EG. Where you going, Bubba?
This has got to be one of the more weird things I've seen in a game with a Crystal Maiden chasing down Ember Spirit with auto attacks.
She was hitting pretty hard,
no,
too.
Stop hitting me. Let me run away.
Take that.
Yeah.
I got you.
But, well...
Oh no,
Tinker.
Two Hero Chrono, dead EGM. Is it a dead Pycat as well?
Yeah,
he has his BKB.
Gone.
The Bash Luck is coming out for Universe in this Chrono, and that's 4 heroes dead. Everybody getting wiped. Bulba, the lone survivor. Too much damage done to Tinker at this point. And they're against the Bounty Hunter. You can't be trading.
They're giving way too much gold away. This is 20k and 15k experience. And the one thing, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I've seen Koikva being the initiator once in this game for Tinker. Like, getting that Blink 2-man stomp, setting up the team fight, it's always the duel of Pycat starting it out, and then the follow-up just never really seems to be there. I think that's the one thing Tinker hasn't had this game that they desperately need, is a good Centaur opener where it feels like they, for once, get ahead in the fight, because they always start with the duel, but it doesn't bring them ahead ever. It's like they start the fight, there's good counter-initiate from EG, maybe they win the duel like we've seen before, but they've just used so much on it, and even after that, they're not strong enough to take the 4-on-5 that remains.
A lot of it goes back to something you brought up much earlier, which is the importance of vision for Tinker. They've been in the dark for a long time. Losing that gem in the earlier fight is not going to help matters either, and they're up against a Bounty Hunter. So EG have great vision. They also have the tower advantage here by a significant margin, 3 towers up. Between the towers, the Bounty Hunter with the gem, and the lack of wards for Tinker, like, this lineup is meant to be Cena hero, going in with the Stampede Blink Stomp.
So dead.
And Bulba is desperately trying to equalize the vision
situation.
situation.
Missed the fissure.
PPD completely airballing that one. But top lane, we have another go from Arteezy. Forced out the ultimate of Saint Saint as he retreats. Not the biggest deal.
Oh, we might see Koikva going for it now.
Finally, that Blink Stop initiation, but it's onto the tankiest here on the side of EG. Arteezy barely brought down. They need everything to bring him as he gets on the big, and he turns, and then Zai again unwinding with that Crystal Maiden ult, gets a killing spree, gets another kill. Can he stop this teleport out? He can. EGM not allowed to retreat. Frostbitten, tracked, will fall as well. EG getting everything they could hope for and more. Now up 12 kills. This might be critical mass for them. 1370 experience going the way of the Crystal Maiden, and did 2,500 damage in an AoE that fight, more than the Razor.
And he didn't even get lucky.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part about that. That was, it was a decent Maiden ult, but in terms of the RNG on how the explosions came through there. If he got lucky there, they might have got 2 or 3 kills. Or just they can't kill Arteezy. Like, the fact that they try is just a desperation move at this point. 27 armor, 3,500 health, and any sort of backup. Even it was just a CM, right? There was a 2-on-4 fight, and Team Tinker had to run out of it, and they still lost.
And it goes back to my point of, like, what are you going to do? Duel the CM? You kind of have to, or she kills your whole team, but you really can't when Arteezy's here. If he's left unchecked, he's an even bigger threat. And now EG, this might just be the nail in the coffin for Tinker. They've already taken 1 lane of X, all 3 lanes pushed in. Roche is not respawning for a minute. Very fortunately for Tinkers, they just do not have the map control to get out, but I think EG welcomed that find the Roche pits in. They didn't use Chronosphere there. It's ready to go.
Yeah, and Echo Slam is available too.
They have a friggin' Abyssal Blade. Jesus Christ, man. This is so rough for Tinker.
It's almost a 700 GPM Razor. This has got to be like a top 10 GPM of all time on this hero.
The point you made earlier is well taken. It's not really a flash farmer. He can kill big stacks of creeps with Plasma Field, but even then, the nuke has a decent cooldown.
His farm is still pretty sick in this game, though.
No, his farm is sick. On a hero that doesn't farm that well.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's got farm that he's got farm that compares to what some of the really good farming heroes would have 40 minutes. He's got 326 CS. This would be a good but not stellar anti-mage performance, for example. He has that on a Razor, which pretty much never happens. So just incredible standout performance from pretty much everyone on EG. It's weird to say, but in this game, I feel like based on our expectations, maybe Universe is the one who delivered the least, and he's on his Void. So, I mean, then the other players just step up. I think Zion, his main, has been amazing, and the Razor of Arteezy just off the charts this game. And
that is very scary, because you look at TI4, and it was a lot of it was just Universe carrying them with some sick Chronospheres to get them as far as he did, and just great offlane play in general. But this game, it's the entire well-oiled machine of EG just battering down these Tinker defenses. They'll look for the second lane of Rex. Arteezy in front. Everybody just saying, go on Arteezy. I dare you. Come at him. They're not going to do it yet. They really can't, but they kind of have to. Chronosphere was there. Didn't catch Sing Sing, but it caught
he
others.
got back into
Universe. Oh, no. He zips back in. He left a remnant there. Double kill for him. The chase onto Sing Sing. And even PPD's galloping in, lumbering forward as the Earthshaker. This should be the game at this point. EG, they take down 2 more heroes. They pack in another 2,500 gold.
Look, PPD. He got his blink. He got it. 41-minute game with a 25k gold lead. Now it's time for Shaker to get his Blink Dagger.
And EG dominant in their opening match of Group A. Some were calling it the Group of Death. Cloud9 perhaps look a little bit less scary with the stand-in factor, but Tinker still under a lot of pressure now. Alliance and Cloud9 are no slouches on LAN. And they're pretty experienced overall as rosters go.
Just a really, really great play here from EG. Just like when you're playing against a lineup like that, as Team Tinker's lineup, and you make these, we're going to come back to that top fight, because that's really where, I don't want to say the game swung, but because it was pretty even. It wasn't like Tinker threw away the game by any means. It was even till that point. Then EG just took over and never really gave anything back.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't have too much to add to that as EG. They were a little frustrated about sleep. I think there were some technical issues before the game started, but they shook it off. They didn't tilt.
They're using the anger to their advantage.
No release games yet for Arteezy. that could change.
If that was his release game right there.
Release his rage on Tinker.
Then he is going to be the MVP of the tournament. If this is going to be his bad performance, then...
Yeah. Then everyone's just lost. If that's a better game for Arteezy, then you're absolutely screwed. And with that said, we'll go into another game soon, but it looks good here for EG in Group A, Sid.
Yeah, it's... They got a 41-minute Blink Dagger. Let's just finish off with that, kind of, right? Because PPD played the classic, I don't know what to call it, if we can call it like the Asian Shaker, because they were kind of the ones that started out playing Shaker as an ultra support without even having full games. You win without even getting a Blink Dagger. And PPD in this game, playing again the defensive role, it's another hero that EG add to their arsenal when he doesn't play the Treant, Abaddon, or the, what am I missing here?
Treant, Abaddon, Dazzle occasionally.
Yeah, there's one more. There was one that got banned here. Why can't I come up with it?
Omni Knight, yeah.
So when he doesn't play that, well, they just take a long-range Fisher to like create space in the fights. And you saw PPD had a huge impact on the Shaker, even though he got the Blink Dagger when the game was actually over. He never used it. So it's pretty incredible to see how much he can get out of that.
Yeah, with that said, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break here, but when we come back, we'll break down this first game. We'll get into our second match. As Starladder Season 10, the LAN Finals, day number 1 continues after this.
Захват ПКБ, кулдаун по 4. Какая просто невероятная дамага.
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion.